This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
Oh my God, it's Bruno.
That's
perfect. Yeah, that is a dead on of the Hal Roach music.
Three pieces of music. You know.
That's why I hope every generation like sees these. I mean, it's literally following the beats of everything from a cartoon to any serial. This is like you have the intro music, then the dramatic music for the conflict, and then the outro.
Well, the thing about the Little Rascals is, you know, and I feel like when I was growing up as a kid, the thing I've always said about the Little Rascals when I was growing up as a kid is, you know, I grew up when I watched them here in New York. It was Channel 5, and I think Channel 11 did it for a while. Channel 5 had it, and they ran the early ones from the 30s, before when Spanky was just getting into it. So I got to see, you know, Stymie, Farina, don't call me Norman, call me Chubsy Ubsy. Jackie Cooper was in that.
Oh, jeez.
Jackie Cooper, who would play Perry White in the Superman movies. Dickie Moore was in those movies. Scotty Beckett, who you might know from MST3K, is Winky from
Yep.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like when we watched it when we were kids, and I wish my friend Randy was here because he could talk to you about this too.
Trust me, we will. And I had so much fun looking up the trivia of this. Like, I had heard that there was one of them who was a real douche to everybody, but I had no idea it was who the one I was thinking. You know,
Alfalfa.
Yeah, it's like
Alfalfa was an asshole.
Hell, dude, why?
Alfalfa thought he was the star of the show, and they did a.
It's like the earliest ego that you can think of if you think about it real hard. Like, I mean, it's always been a thing, even probably as far back as Roman times when they were entertaining the dictators. But it's just like, not dictators, but tyrants. But it's just
the
like
emperors. Yeah,
emperors is like it's like freaking Carl Switzer is
Carl Switzer is basically like
for 20 years.
Tommy Butch Bond talked about it. They were doing a thing about Hollywood scandals on E. Remember? Okay, so Tommy Butch Bond, who was the bully of but actually appeared in early ones before he kind of had a little bit of, because he's the one who's saying just friends. You know,
yes,
so Tommy Butch Bond was in fact, the funny thing is Tommy Butch Bond was the first Jimmy Olsen in the Superman series.
Oh shit.
Before Jack Larson. Yeah. So Tommy Butch Bond said that they were doing a thing for the kids, and the kids were on stage, and all of a sudden he's hearing like somebody say, "Don't you do that, don't you do that," and Alfalfa was peeing on the stage lights.
I did hear about a bit of that.
Oh God, it was just like, I was like, I'm sitting there, he's like I'm just standing there, doing my own business, I see somebody yelling, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
He was apparently he's like he basically became an adult much later in life. He was basically just always a kid. He started in 61 Shorts, but it is just amazing to me how, along with his boredom, when he wasn't playing pranks or refusing to say lines, he would go to other sets and terrorize one of them where they were filming the Tarzan serials. Is like, my goodness, dude.
The only ones that I know that came out well were Spanky.
He was best friends with Tommy.
Yeah,
Bond.
they were. Yeah. Butch and Tommy were best friends with Spanky.
That's so wild.
But you gotta think, where does that start up? It starts in 1922 with Silence, and I've seen the silent ones. They ran them on Turner a while back, and the silent ones, it's kind of like
much
they
like
do some things
Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, that's like the early Laurel and Hardy movies, and you're like, oh, okay, I get the jokes here, But they do one with like where they do Uncle Tom's Cabin, and the one guy is like the one kid's in blackface, and you're just like,
yikes.
Okay, that ain't gonna. I mean, you're laughing, but it's like that uncomfortable. Holy shit! I can't believe they did this back then. Laughter,
There's that, and I get that many of the characters, buckwheat is a stereotype, and some people are not going to want to watch it because of that association, but I still think everyone should watch this just to figure out this is what passed for comedy back then. This is how we did comedy.
Well, it's not only that, but you got to realize Hal Roach was colorblind. He had black kids and white kids hanging out with each other. That's the great thing about the Our Gang comedies.
In a way, he's a well-meaning progressive who happened to have one racial stereotype. It's just like,
well, it wasn't it was the writers who were doing that. Let's just put it. It was the writers doing that. It wasn't Hal Roach. It was the writers doing that. And you have to realize, that was how they wrote things. They wrote things like that.
They didn't know any better. They were.
They didn't know any better. I mean, I would love to. I'd like to correct some people and be like, back in the 40s and the 30s, before Sidney Poitier and Harry Bond, they, everybody, kind of talked with that. Every black actor talked with that.
What was really saving my bacon on this? There's an Our Gang Wicca.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I applaud anyone who updated this. Like, they dispelled all the rumors that Mickey Rooney and Shirley Temple were supposed to be rascals. Just nope, just baseless rumors.
Yeah. And the funny thing is,
but it wasn't for that particular Hal Roach project.
No, it was something else altogether. There is one movie that they did when they were doing the Our Gang comedies. That's General Spanky. And that's the only movie they did at that time, and it didn't do too well, from what I understand.
Nice.
But the thing I love is, like, as you watch things go, like there's all these ones that you love, like they kind of run into each other, like it's kind of like with Our Gang, is kind of like they kind of run into each other, like I love the one with the kid who's got to do learn that poem.
Yes.
If you remember that one, that was the one.
That's cool.
He's like, I don't want to go to school. I want to be a streetcar conductor. and he's got to learn this poem, right? So he
But
gets thrown out of school.
that's what
And
I dug
like he
about
just
it. Just all
oh
these, it's a mixture of poverty kids as well as other orphans and street gangs, and it's like they're just all.
it's not even orphans. It's just children of like middle class, maybe lower class families. Like like and then as time goes on, they get a little bit better. The depression's starting to get over and stuff like that. But it's like it's fun to watch because it's like they go from like there's one episode where Spanky, the father accuses Spanky
I was
of
thinking of Choo Choo. I
stealing.
guess that's where
What?
they. I was thinking of Choo Choo. That particular short where they're on the train ride, and that's what
Oh,
I was thinking. They switch places with a group of orphans. Okay.
yeah. But there's so many great gags that we knew as kids growing up. Like don't drink the milk, it's spoiled. Don't drink the milk, it's spoiled. Don't drink the milk. And they make the cake. Wow, wow, wow. And Spanky, they have like a murder mystery on the phone, and Spanky takes the thing off and um the phone off, and they think there's actually a murder in the house.
Yeah,
And then
is
the one kept saying, "Remarkable." Is that all you say? No. What else you say? Remarkable. I mean, Spanky was like a natural comedian. He was. If Spanky
and
McFarlane
I didn't realize
is,
Alfalfa was also in It's a Wonderful Life as the kid who tries to
yeah,
dance with Mary.
yeah, but Spanky McFarlane is actually the one guy that I love watch because his career he didn't do anything after the Our Gang comedies. He's kind
So
of like I'm
wild.
done. But he was working for he was working for television, all this stuff. But he
It-
was one of these. He was one of these kids. He was the leader when it became out the Our Gang comedies
He's
when they
definitely the
went over
face
there.
I put with it.
He's the
Is like,
face.
yeah.
I mean, not Alfalfa. Alfalfa is always going to be the one that has the moments, but Spanky's the born leader.
He's the supporting member of the gang who thinks he's in charge, but really he just gets the
Yeah,
other ones in trouble.
but it's really Spanky. Spanky's
And
always the one that's going to be in there,
I had
and
a bunch of VHSs of these that had Leonard Maltin, narrate
yeah,
introducing them, and I think that gave it the extra appeal because there's nothing better than having some acclaimed critic just giving his 2 cents,
yeah,
much like the TCM treatment, but just seeing how he valued these shorts, and it was much like the old VHS uh, of High Noon. It's just that same kind of just
yeah.
making it, 30 plus years later is like, here's what we look at with these movies and here's what they mean to us.
And it's this encapsulation of when America, was in the 20s. Then we have the Depression, and then we come out of the Depression. Then we have World War II, and our gang is like our gang, the Little Rascals, is kind of like this escape, you know. And the great thing about it was that it was kids. We could all relate to that. Back we would watch our gang, and we'd all be kind of like going, "Oh man," like I remember as a teenager I watched it, right? And I was like thinking to myself, I remember being like a little bit younger, running around with my friends. That's what it was like back then. But we had Uncle George, who was the wild man from Borneo, going, "Yum yum, eat 'em up." Uh, but we had those like great moments, when we're kids, and that's what it is. It's the innocence of it. It's the innocence of how that time was, before social media, before you know Facebook and computers and all that stuff. Yeah, that's what I miss about our gang. It was just so fun to watch. And when when Spanky died in '93,
Yeah, that's what I
was it?
saw.
Yeah.
I would have been 3 years
Uh,
old.
I can remember like just feeling like kind of down about it, because he was the last. I think he's one of the last ones.
We can't even begin to describe the kind of experience he would have had as a early generation kid actor in Hollywood, working with all these legends, working with one of the first comedy groups in
Well,
shorts, it's just,
he was there since he was like 3. I think he leaves when he's about 12, 13. I don't know how long he was there for. But
that's a good question. So Spanky age when he first started. Wow.
and I think there's
3 years
the
old.
classic 3 years old. He's there.
Born in Fort Worth, Texas. That's right. I always forget.
Yeah, he was from Texas, and
He didn't
was
shoot
there from
anybody, so that's
3
good.
No, he was there from
I'm
like
kidding with
3
you.
years old. 3 years old to like I think maybe about 12, 11.
That's about right.
Yeah, because there was some point when they were doing the Little Rascals that remember Porky and Buckwheat were the little ones,
Yes.
and all of a sudden,
Oh,
Porky
man.
got a little bit taller than, or was getting as tall as you know as as uh as Spanky at one point, and then they brought in Froggy, and they brought in you know Bobby Blake, Robert Blake. You know that, right? Robert Blake was one of the Little Rascals.
Oh, shit. That's right. See,
Yeah,
I always think of him just as Roger Corman time and then working with him later after Man from Uncle.
yeah. No, that's Robert Vaughn.
Oh, shit.
Robert Blake Beretta.
Robert Blake. Oh.
Robert Blake, yeah.
Why did I hear you say Vaughn when you clearly said
Vaughn,
Blake?
no.
Well,
Robert,
at
yeah.
least Blake didn't shoot any kids, so that's good. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
At least he didn't go to a restaurant, what did you do? I shot somebody. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Oh
So
no! Can you imagine a South Park version of like, oh my god, you killed Alfalfa? Oh man.
did you see the Simpsons when they did the Simpsons where you find out that Mo was one of the Little Rascals and he killed Alfalfa?
Oh my god, no! Oh, that's great.
Oh, oh yeah.
That's amazing. Now we got to find that clip and post it.
There's a rumor that there's a curse of the Little Rascals.
I have vaguely like what ages they
Um,
died at and shit like that, and it's like,
yeah,
what?
Froggy died. Froggy died. When he was 15. He was riding a scooter with a friend of his. They were delivering papers. And he got hit by a car.
So this was what was invading
Yeah,
Hollywood before all the awful stuff like the
yeah,
poltergeist rumors, and you're like, seriously,
yeah.
guys, it just happened. It's not cursed. It's not
No.
like Bruce Lee, where it was a mistake and someone screwed up.
But yeah, I mean, to watch those shorts when you're a kid, and you're watching them, and you're like,
Just like cartoons, like they are timeless.
it's like a live action cartoon. Like I love the one where the kid gets the new fire truck, and they build their own fire truck.
And
there's
there
like
were
20
women in the
kids.
gang too. It was all inclusive.
Yeah, there were women in the gang.
It was never,
It was
just a
never
bunch
just
of
boys.
a little, and they were all charming. They were never just,
Yeah,
hey, let's follow these guys who are assholes, but they're funny. That they don't have to have a redeeming arc. They're just kids being
well,
kids.
the thing I love is how they would like just write something and it would be like, all right, Tommy and Butch find Alfalfa and they don't beat him up, but they give him a good lesson.
Yeah, just a lesson. And it was
You know,
never overtly depressing or preachy. It was just, hey,
no,
it was written like a simple obstacle, like you get in any comic book. Like, hey, I need to buy flowers for the girl I have a crush on, but I have to work that day or something. Just shit like that. Just like they would have a natural obstacle.
I think if you had a crush on a girl, you would watch Alfalfa go after Darla.
I did read how Shirley Jean, played by Shirley Jean Rickett, actually did become a burlesque dancer years later.
Who?
Shirley Jean.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Wow.
But she first appears in Helping Grandma, and her last short was Fly My Kite in
Oh, okay.
1931. So we're talking very early.
I love there's one where they take the gang the teacher takes the gang to the beach, and the one kid who was in the earlier episodes is now a truant officer. So
Mm.
he's like, Mary, will you just give me one kiss? No. And there's Spanky lying down under an umbrella going, for crying out loud, will you just kiss her already? And he goes back to sleep.
Breaking the silence. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I mean, Spanky was such a natural
Did
as an actor.
you did you like these more, or did you like Leave It to Beaver kind of more?
These were better.
All right, no, I asked because Hugh Beaumont was a judge's aide in Good Bad Boys.
Yeah, no, I gotta say,
I couldn't resist.
with our gang, it was fun, it was funny to watch. And it's always good the comedy was it could be visual and it could be wordy. It was like Laurel and Hardy. If you ever watched Laurel and Hardy, the shorts they did,
Yeah, I kind of liked
it's the
Laurel and
same.
Hardy more, but get this, I watched Little Rascals way more.
Yeah.
So
Do
it is
you
it's always fun doing the what it is objectively better versus subjectively what do you enjoy better more. It's always a fun toss.
did you know there was a Little Rascals cartoon?
I did hear about it. I don't know who animated it.
Darla Darla Hood played the voice of Miss Crabtree
Wow.
when they did the special in '79. It's right
Mm.
before she passed away. And
Yeah.
what happened was that later they put the Little
Oh,
Rascals
that's
on
right.
ABC,
We did mention that in
and
Hanna-Barbera. I'm such an
and
idiot. Why did I forget
I think Porky and the estate of Buckwheat basically sued them for character
that?
infringement.
Right.
So they said
The
okay,
ones who were living were like, that's okay.
yeah,
But yeah,
that's
Darla
okay,
and
but
Alfalfa and
Dar
Buckwheat had passed away, and they were like,
yeah,
okay, you can get away with that, but
you can get away with it, but you're gonna put it on trading cards, and I can remember that show being on for like a year, and that's it.
Warner Brothers claim this prevents them still to this day from releasing on DVD back in a 2016 interview, and because of the lawsuit, they have not been able to syndicate it on Cartoon Network or Boomerang. So
No, but somebody uploaded it on YouTube.
yeah, thank you God,
You
YouTube, man.
know,
YouTube is the underdog, man. Just I kid you
and
not.
Spanky got involved too. Spanky's like, look, you're putting my likeness as a child, and I'm not getting any residuals for it.
Mhm.
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I can't blame them. It just makes you wonder who did the paperwork.
Yeah,
Or why they couldn't have just said, "Hey, if I had any brains, I would have just pulled the comedy card and just had them be a spoof of Rascals instead of just the Little Rascals
yeah.
cartoon that wasn't endorsed." I don't know why Spanky's family lived in the same LA home as Michael Jackson. That's just so wild.
Wait, what happened?
uh, George McFarlane, who played Spanky, his family, Michael Jackson's family lived in the same Los Angeles home
Are
that
you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
Holy
And I would
shit!
always hear that once in a while, and it was said so many times. I was like, okay, so this isn't tabloids anymore. This is legit.
I love Spanky being on Cheers. Did you ever see
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
one?
yeah.
He's like he's like he's like a that guy at the end on me. Yeah, I think that's Spanky McFarland.
And Annabelle Logan was a female villainess in Superman 4.
Oh my! Wait a minute! Whoa! Wait a minute!
Not-
Annabelle Logan
yeah,
in Superman 3 or Superman 4?
Superman 4.
Who was she in Superman 4?
Looking it up. What villainess? Oh wait. Okay, so the Wikipedia is wrong, but it's Superman free as Vera. That's what it is. Okay.
Oh my gosh, she was one of the Little Rascals?
Apparently, yeah.
Holy shit, I
So
didn't know that.
crazy. Her credits include episodes of The Saint. even doing dubbing for Bluebeard 72.
Yeah.
Like, my God. Okay. Shit.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, when
She's
Billy,
one of the Red Cross ladies in Yanks. I had no
holy Christ.
idea.
Yeah, Billy. Yeah, man. There's a great one
It's
they
not
did
like the
called Reunion.
Stooges where they pop up in exploitation films or
No, no, no,
other comedy
no,
films.
no, no, no. But there's one I'm trying to watch. I'm watching here.
Gene Reynolds and Jackie Cooper, famous directors, both got their
Yeah,
start acting, and that's what I really took away from it. Is like I know Tony Dow from Leave It to Beaver, his mother also worked on these, so I was like, see, acting just runs in everyone's family.
yeah,
I saw that Ron Howard
yeah.
had tried to do a TV show back when he first got started, but it never took off. Same thing with Norman Lear, where he was trying to cast Gary Coleman, but that's
Oh
okay.
wow.
Yeah, he
He
was
was.
gonna. Coleman would have played Stymie, and it was an unsold Rascal spinoff.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
but so I think it was Crisis Averted. It would have been just too soon, and well, and like anything we see, it's just unfortunately you'll always be a remake, even if you're good. If you try remaking it, it's like it's better to just be inspired. Like Kids in the Hall are great, for instance, because they're doing their own thing. While it's similar, they're clearly inspired by Monty Python. That would have been a
Yeah.
different story had a bunch of these Canadian comedians just decided, hey, let's do Python the next generation. Would have been probably disastrous because we just have
Wow.
too much
I
nostalgia.
didn't notice that. When they did Sons of the Desert in 1980, Sons of the Desert was the Laurel and Hardy fan club. But they would do the Little Rascals. It was
Mm,
uh something for the Little Rascals. It was the Hal Roach thing.
right.
Um, they said that
I see they
that
still have been operating fan clubs. That's cool.
yeah, George McFarlane, Dorothy Deborah, and Joe Cobb and Tommy Bond were brought out. When Thomas was brought out, Buckwheat, he received a spontaneous standing ovation. That's how much he was loved. But
Sweet.
I didn't know this. He worked at Technicolor.
Ah,
He worked at Technicolor. He was a film lab tech there, and he was processing
wow.
negative film reels for Jaws for Metro Color, processing Logan's Run. So he was basically he was learning about film editing and cutting.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah, man. Uh,
There were some other interesting crew members. Fred C. Newmeyer originally directed the first Our Gang film, but most of his work was scrapped, and Fred McGowan took over. They liked his directing style better. The first Our Gang short, though, is presumed lost, apart from a surviving fragment.
yeah, I heard about.
I've tried looking
Yeah, there's
for a lot of these shorts for years, and it seems like they've done a good job of just kind of preventing them. They just insist you buy the DVD collection.
oh jeez.
But I know. So you'll love this. Ellen Corby was a script gore for the Hal Roach Studios, and she married
Oh my
Francis
god.
Corby, the famous photographer, and she went on to become a character actress. But she's best known as Grandma on The Waltons.
Grandma Walton, yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. This is like what? Dorothy Dandridge appeared in Teacher's Bow from 35. So I'm like, man, the famous, one of the first black actresses
Damn.
got their start here. Who,
Oh my god.
I mean, and it's so ironic how there's many of our favorite actors who become famous for playing other,
Yeah.
actual actors. Dorothy Dandridge, that was a big like Emmy hit for Holly Berry back in the day when she portrayed her in that
I remember
Showtime.
when she did that, yeah.
It's like, see, that's a labor of love. That's very hard to do, to portray all these troubled real life icons.
Yeah,
Ah,
when they were talking about I'm reading about Spanky is that he did only one role, General Spanky, and they were going to move, and then he was in the Trail of
Butch.
Lonesome.
Yeah, yeah. But Butch was also related to uh uh grandmama on the Adams Family.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And so that's why many people would think, oh, they're on both. I'm like, well, kind of. So Butch's mom was played by Mary Blake, the singer of singing actress Jeanette McDonald, who
Oh, okay.
became Blossom Rock and then became Grandmama on the Addams Family. And yeah, Mary would appear as Alfalfa's aunt, and Eugene Jackson, who played Pineapple,
Yes.
actually appeared in the '98 Addams Family movie. So I'm like, oh, okay, so it's a little cryptic.
Well,
They got a dig for
here's
it.
something funny. If you watch the Buddy Holly story from '78,
Oh, with Gary Busey.
Gary Busey, Steiny is the guy in the back with the guy who books the acts for the Apollo,
Uh,
and as a tribute, he's got the derby on. My dad's going, "Hey, that's Steiny from the Little Rascals." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." I was like, "Yeah, he's got his little bowler hat on." I used to love. I love when like him and Dickie Moore they're eating breakfast. Like, you sure know how to cook eggs, yeah. And that ham looks good too. Give me a slice of that ham. Because you're like when you're a kid, you're just like you don't care about the race. You're the way Stein's just going.
They
I need
had
some
good comedic
eggs. I want,
timing in his
yeah,
hat. So,
you know.
was that the same hat as what Laurel or Hardy were wearing, or is that a small?
No. It was just a hat that he
All
wore.
right, just asking. Sweet, very very neat. That, but
Yeah.
that kudos. If most of them can be well liked and still hardworking, that because it's just so sad when you see so many of them have like a Marilyn Monroe type tragedy where you're like, good grief, and
Well, I heard about like you hear about Darla Hood. She died after an appendectomy.
mm,
But you hear about
they didn't have an answer for those kind of diseases back then.
no. It's just she just had a really bad but Spanky McFarlane said, he said that she actually died of a broken heart, because her husband had died.
Mm,
But I think the one thing I'm just looking at right now is uh, what's the one I was. What was the one I was looking at before? Jackie Cooper, I can remember.
mm.
He was, please, mister, don't shoot my dog. Um,
Ah, jeez.
I remember, and he
They
was
would
always
have
with
some
Wallace
intense
Beery.
moments, but it never got to the
Yeah.
point where you're like, I wouldn't want to show this to today's
Oh,
crowd.
I still laugh a little bit when um, I just laugh a little bit because he was always with Wallace Beery,
Mm.
and Wallace Beery hated kids. He didn't like him. But
Jeez.
I can remember the one, you know, well, they always had Miss Crabtree in it, right?
Hmm.
And Miss Crabtree was like, the one that, they'd always, they always would have it where, Miss McGillicuddy, well, the one plot is always they'd be like, I'm not going to school today. Me
Right.
neither. And they'd be like, okay, everybody, let's get measles. So, everybody has measles and it cuts over to buckwheat. Everybody's got like a dark measles marks. Cuts over to buckwheat. Buckwheat has white measles marks on his face, and they're like, "This is the way." Yeah, yeah. So also it cuts to the kids. No, they didn't have class. They all had ice cream that day, and they missed out on it. So I mean, Robert Klein used to do a great bit about
I
our
love
gang
Robert.
comedies.
He's great. Yeah,
But
man. Klein is so underrated. Like, dude's like, I think he scored real high on like some intelligence test or something like that. That's just why he's so
who
witty. I think Robert
who
Klein, I think.
Klein?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the one thing I think the thing I love is like if you watch the the
Documentary.
no if you watch the a lot of those movies, a lot of the early ones before Spanky and um what's the one I'm trying to look for? Okay, Mary Milos Kretschmer, Chubby. Okay, so this is the one. This is the one I love.
I used to have a cat named Chubby, believe it or not.
It was called Love Business. It was in 1931. It's called Love Business, right?
Love Business.
Jackie's hopelessly in love with Miss Crabtree. At the same time, his sister Marion tells her mother that Jackie is in love with Miss Crabtree. Jackie runs off to school without eating breakfast meal. Miss Crabtree becomes a boarder at Jackie's home and moves in later that day. Chubby is also in love with Miss Crabtree and practices kissing her on an oversized cardboard statue of Greta Garbo. I remember this. At school, Weezer tells Jackie, Marion, Chubby, Farina that Miss Crabtree is moving into their house. Jackie has mixed emotions about this. That evening, Miss Crabtree has dinner with Jackie, Marion, Weezer, and the mother. The mothballs fell into the soup earlier, giving the soup a very bitter taste. Later, Chubby stops in to see Miss Crabtree, recites some very romantic poetry. Miss Crabtree asks Chubby whether he got all this stuff. He says from Weezer, who got it for his mother, was love letters. Mother hears about this and is about to give Weezer a spanking, but decides not in the end. Okay, so these are the lines that are said in the movie. Okay, now Chubby was Norman Chaney. Norman Chaney was let's see, I gotta think. He had a glandular disease. And Chubby was the one, and then he got replaced by he was only 3'11" and weighed about 111 pounds. So I guess that's no, I'm sorry, 130. He was 3'11", he weighed 113 pounds. So Joe Cobb would come in later and replace him. Joe Cobb. So when Chubby left, he eventually topped 300 pounds, although he never grew beyond 4'7". Holy shit!
Holy crap!
So he had a glandular ailment. He went in. He went to John Hopkins. Dropped over 300 pounds to less than 140 pounds. He got myocarditis.
What is that?
That's basically a heart disease. And he was 21. He weighed 110 pounds. He was the first of the Our Gang alumni to die. His grave remained unmarked because his mother could not afford a marker for him. He never received any money.
Wow.
Yeah, shit.
So
Holy crap!
Andy Samuel was the oldest. Ernie Morrison was the second oldest. George Sonny Boy was the third, and then Kendall was the fourth. And wow.
Wait, I gotta find this. Okay, so this is the Weezer. I hated Weezer. Weezer was such a dick. Weezer was a dick. I'm sorry. Yeah, Alan Farina Hopkins. Bob Weezer, yeah, she's Marianne Jackson. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
Marianne Jackson was the one who had.
Those were featured background people.
Yeah, no, she was the one. She was always the one who had like the like. She was always like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you in trouble," you know.
The snitch.
Yeah. But yeah, she's kind of like the Pamela Ferdinand of her day.
Oh dear. Alan Hoskins.
Yeah. Don't call me. That's the famous. Don't call me Norman. Call me Chubsy Ubsy. Well, how's the soup? Oh, it's delicious, but I'm afraid it's a little too rich for me. Oh, I'm sorry. Tastes like mothballs. Ooh. I swallowed it. It tastes like Pa's dress suit, like Pa's dress suit smells. Yeah, he says I swallowed it too. It tastes more like axle grease. Wow, keep putting. What's the one? Ah, shit. I'm trying to look for
it. Well,
that's. Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, you can't blow your nose at the table. That's not etiquette. Etiquette? Who ate a cat? I wouldn't eat no cat. Marianne. Weezer, what's the matter with you? Oh, I couldn't sleep at all last night. Couldn't sleep. Why? Jackie kept hugging me and kissing me all night. He did, yeah. He kept saying, I love you, my darling. I love you, I love you. You know? Yeah. Hey, don't try to kiss me. I'll kiss you with my fist in a minute. But what's the one I'm looking for? Wait, I'm trying to look for. Oh, Miss Crabtree. Oh, my darling. Can you hear my pleas and whispers? Darling, I hear your pleas and your whiskers. If love is like a rose, I will pick my rose in the bud. If love is like a rose, I will stick my nose in the mud.
Oh.
My heart is filled with joy. I want to trip and dance. My heart is filled with joy. I want to rip my pants. Oh, Miss Crabtree, there's something heavy on my heart. I want to ask you something. Oh, Chubsy Ubsies, there's going to be something heavy on your nose. Oh God, these are so fucking
Pretty
hilarious.
dirty.
Oh no, it's not that they're dirty. They're just good. They're good. Yeah, wait a minute, fellas. This
Well, it's
might be
on your
so.
nose. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever he's describing.
No, no, his fist. His fist.
Oh,
He's gonna
he's gonna
punch
make
him out.
ah,
Oh God.
slightly off.
Oh
So,
Jesus Christ.
Farina, excluding cameos, appeared in 105 shorts. Spanky
Yep.
appeared in 95. Buckwheat appeared in 92. Joe Cobb appeared in 85. And Jackie appeared in 78. So, like, those are the top 5
Top guys. Yeah.
most appearances by each member. I never thought to even do the math. Like, there's just were so many of them. Like, where do you even start?
There's one they do where they go on like I think it's like one of the early Spanky ones, which is just about to, and they do it where they have the International Silver String Submarine Band, and they go on the radio show, and it's them like, hey Steiny, give me a C. Here you go, bang. So the whole time they're playing the man on the flying trapeze, and every time they hit something, the engineer's hair goes up in the air because it's like he's blowing a fuse all the time. You have to watch this. It's one of those things you watch when you're a kid. You're hysterical laughing. When you get older, you're watching it. You're hysterical laughing. So,
Totally. I mean, and
oh,
there's so much crossover. The Stolen Jewels shorts has an appearance by Edward G. Robinson as a thief, and Buster Keaton plays one of the cops.
yep.
Gary Cooper.
Yeah, because
was
they
the
were working at
newspaper
MGM at the time.
and Joan Crawford. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
Joan Crawford slaps the kids.
Someone and Laurel and Hardy were cops in a vehicle.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Lo and behold, Mike's joining us.
Hi, Mike.
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 Mike. Mike lives. Mike lives. So we've been going to Trivia City, looking at the best gags, skits, and just lesser known stuff about our gang. And lo and behold.
Okay. I actually just watched one of those as an extra on a Marx Brothers DVD.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Was there crossover with Marx?
Well, I think they put like stuff you'd see in the shorts before the movies back then.
Well, it has to be an MGM one because MGM took over for Hal Roach by then.
Gotcha. Because, I saw that some of those were distributed by Paramount.
So, and I got to say, I went through all the Marx Brothers movies. Love Happy doesn't work very well.
No, it does not. No.
Oh, is it because they're what? Can you better explain that? Like, I'm not familiar with that one.
Well, Harpo can't carry a film for one thing.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking. Oh, okay, yeah, we're talking later. Marx.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the last. Well, they made one more movie, but they weren't in it.
I thought we were talking Rascal. I thought we had.
I'm sorry. I just jumped in and just started talking.
Well, it's okay.
Love Happy is the one. I always say the last one they did was The Night in Casablanca.
Yeah,
that's the last one for me. I've watched Love Happy like about 5 times in my life.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work because of 2 things. Number one, the 3 of them aren't on the screen together.
No,
it's just Groucho doing like a Greek chorus as a Detective Sam Grunion, and then you've got Chico and Harpo, and then you've got them working together, and Harpo is trying to be like Charlie Chaplin, and
work as well.
he when you hear the background of the movie, and I'm sure you know about this, Mike, he went to Sam Lowe, who's the producer, and said, "Look, I want to do a movie." He says, "Well, the only way we're going to finance the movie is if you get Chico and Groucho in it." Because Chico needed the money. No, so what they said was, okay. So they wrote it, and the end part, it's like sight gags galore, And I'm like, you're kind of like, wow, this doesn't work good for me. I mean, it didn't work. It didn't work.
And all the big
And it's a shame
advertisements.
because he often, that's an irony though, because I mean, he really can steal the show at times in the other skits, but when the camera's only on him, I guess the pressure was on.
Yeah. Oh, he's running around all these big advertisements. It's one of the first movies to have product placement.
But I still feel sorry
Yeah.
for any comedian. I mean, we can imagine being comedians now. It's like, okay, if it doesn't work, I just go home and sulk. But I can't imagine failing and getting better as a comedian in the 20s or 30s where people are throwing shit at you. There is no double standards,
Yeah.
I worked with when we did Love Happy in 1949. That was the last movie we did together. And then we did The Stunned Story of Mankind.
Right.
But when we did when they did Love Happy, the thing, there's two things in there. Number one, Raymond Burr's in it.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell, Raymond?
And isn't it true? And then you've got
Ironside.
Then you've got Marilyn. Then you've got Marilyn Monroe doing a walk-on, which is one of the best walk-ons I've ever seen. She says, "Mr. Grundy, yes, some men are following me." She walks and says, "Really? I can't see the reason why."
Is it like James Dean appearing in that one Ed Wood film?
No. It's just kind of like she does this walk-on, and she wasn't Marilyn yet. I mean, she was going to be Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
But she wasn't Marilyn Monroe yet,
So I don't know if that's her first movie or Scudda Who, Scudda Hey. I think she's in a canoe.
Scudda Who, Scudda Hey was the first one, I think.
Yeah.
Where she has a big role in it.
And I think they also filmed that movie and released it later. Love Happy was like 2 years in development. I don't know.
It was like there's always there's always the thing about like when did Love Happy come out? Was it 49, 40, 48?
Something like
was
that.
it 49, 50?
It was much later.
Yeah. Yeah. And also they always had absurdity in their movies, but the credibility level. I mean, they put Harpo on a washing machine at one point and run it on site. It's like he'd have been dead. It's just it's a strange movie.
Yeah,
it is fun to watch Raymond Burr. He's starting to crack up several times because he's laughing at the whole absurdity of it. But yeah, it was not a fine finish for those guys.
No, it's kind of like I always say it's like the Let It Be for the Marx Brothers.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm sorry. And where were we on the Little Rascals?
We're talking about the Little Rascals.
Kind of near the end of the tunnel, but I mean, feel free. Like we were pretty much. I only have like a bit of trivia left, and that's that. Three of them. Well, one of them was just a Roach character actor, but two of them were in The Wizard of Oz as dwarves, and those were
Munchkins. You mean Munchkins?
Yes, sorry, I didn't know how we wanted to phrase it. But yeah, so those people were those actors, not people. Okay, so here we go. Priscilla Montgomery, who, of course, for those who don't know, played Priscilla, and Evely Cooney, who was credited in Little Papa, short from 35. They were playing two of the Munchkins, and Billy Bletcher, who would often be like a bailiff or just factory worker, and even played Wally's father in the first Roundup short. He was just a recurring actor playing various roles on Hal Roach Productions. He actually was reported to have dubbed the voice of the Munchkin Mayor in post. So
that's called another. Okay, no.
Wayne Brady does a perfect imitation on whose line.
There's always a line in The Wizard of Oz that's intrigued me. All the Muppets and all their descendants, if any. It sounds so foreboding, like they're going to get wiped out or something. But I think they had something. I researched it a little bit. They had something to do with a tax form of the day.
Kinda. I mean,
descendants.
Wizard of Oz
You
is
check a box, if any, and that was joked about around that time.
Holy shit!
Yeah, under the Depression.
Well, Wizard of Oz was also just that's basically Jim Henson's mind. Like that's if you were to open up his cranium, like that's basically all it is. I'm living in the Wizard of Oz every day.
Yeah.
James brought this up. I take it since you're the #1 Simpsons fan on this show. I take it you've seen the Little Rascals spoof on that show.
Oh man, there's so many episodes. It's hard to remember.
There's apparently one particular one.
It's the one where you find out Mo killed Alfalfa.
Oh, I think I remember that.
He's like, "Oh, my Aggie!" And he beats the shit out of the alpha. He said, "Yeah, there was like 5 kids. They were all alfalfa." You know?
Oh wow!
It's almost I am Spartacus kind of thing. No, I'm alfalfa. No, I'm alfalfa.
I do remember they did the land of the jockeys. They'd live underground or something on The Simpsons.
That's basically the Rascals.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the story about how Alfalfa died?
Oh, wasn't he shot? Wasn't
okay? He was shot. What happened was that there was a lost
Carl
dog.
Switzer, for those keeping up. Yeah,
Carl Alfalfa Schweitzer. There was a lost dog, right?
Okay.
And he found the dog, and the dog was a hunting dog. So he brought it back to the guy, and the guy was like, "I'll pay you when I get the chance." So supposedly Alfalfa Schweitzer kept coming back every 2 weeks or something. "Hey, where's my money? I brought the dog back." And he's like, "Look, I'll pay you. I'll pay you." So it got violent one time, and I think Alfalfa pulled a knife, and the guy pulled a gun out and shot him. You know,
I'm seeing it now. That was January 21st, 1959.
Yeah. I can imagine.
It's just a kid.
He wasn't a kid. He was a
pretty young adult.
How old was he? How old was he?
It's like,
well,
31.
31. Wow.
He's a young adult.
Oh, they talk about a young rascals are getting cursed too. That bad things happen.
Yeah, we brought that up before.
It's just so wild though how everyone's got to add a curse when it's just bad misfortunes.
Yeah, and it's with that many people involved in the show.
Always insensitive. Unfortunately,
wasn't Robert Blake in our gang at one point?
Yes.
Yep. And this is before he shot someone.
Yeah.
So his name was Mickey Gutowski or something like that. Okay. He went by that name.
Was he part of the R gang or part of the side characters, the bad kids they didn't like or something?
Yeah, Butch and Wayne.
Okay, yeah.
So
but the one that short I saw with the Marx Brothers movie was Butch was running for a kid could be a mayor for a day or something, and he was up against Alfalfa.
Yeah.
And then it turns out some kid got it because the mayor knew somebody and it was all rigged or something. It was kind of a political statement for that time,
I hated Waldo. Remember Waldo?
And this is years before Where's Waldo?
Yeah.
Waldo, the rich kid.
Okay, maybe that might have been the kid that got the mayor job.
If anything,
I think that's him, yeah.
He's a representation of that rich prick who we meet in elementary school who everyone wants to trip just because they're so snotty to everybody.
Yeah.
My dad can kick your dad's ass.
I just think the best thing I've ever seen in my life is some guy had a shirt that said the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Mike, we brought up the one where the kid has to learn the poem because he doesn't want to go to school and he wants to be a streetcar driver, and he keeps saying he just keeps repeating during the short, learn that poem, learn that poem, learn that poem.
Wow.
Did you talk about the Robert Klein routine about the?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's classic.
Only three.
Have
pieces
any
of
other
music.
stand-up comedians mentioned them? Made it part of their gags, or
Well, Eddie
No, just-
Murphy. you know.
Yeah,
it's all we get?
but I can remember like Klein. Yeah, I had the album he did that on, Child of the 50s.
Yeah, that's a great record.
And I was literally like I was literally like I had it, I was laughing because I was like, oh my god, he's right. There was only like 3 pieces of music that were used throughout the whole Little Rascals, and bum, 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 bum,
And they could remember lines. You mentioned that in there too. So there's one line of dialogue for like half hour of music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and it was seamless, I guess, since you go from being a silent film to a series to a live action, series with sound, but like you say, now they got to just give only a few of them something to do and a few of them lines. So yeah.
I like that bit in that routine too, where he says everybody in the 30s always said, say, what are you kids doing? Yeah.
What are you kids doing? And it was always just wacky lines they give whatever adult is catching them doing something they shouldn't. Yeah.
It was always some adult who like, say, what are you kids doing here? Scram, see?
Which one of them was a thief at times, doing what dumb kids do?
I don't know.
All right. I could be misremembering. So. Okay. It seemed like they were often just running around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing about Love Happy. Harpo is basically a crook.
Okay.
He's still in it. The whole movie is still in food for the theater group and everything, and he's got like a big jacket full of food that he swipes, cans of food. And the running gag was, then they'd start emptying the pockets, and there's all kinds of stuff in them. But it's just, I don't know, it's just a bizarre movie. The tone was off compared to something like Horse Feathers or Duck Soup,
It feels like what it feels like when you watch Love Happy? It feels like you're watching a movie where they just got together and said, we'll give Harpo a movie, we'll get Chico in there. And Chico doesn't even do that much from what I remember.
Yeah, I don't recall him doing anything in it.
And then we'll put Groucho in, and Groucho doesn't have the grease paint mustache. He's got the mustache on, like a regular mustache.
Yeah, that was off-putting too. Yeah.
And I just remember they would film those. It's like they said, all right, but we'll put Groucho scenes in.
Well, he's basically
keep giving
up
them
the movie and narrates it here and there.
We'll give them beautiful co-stars. Yeah, that's not really funny.
I think all 3 appear together for maybe 10 seconds. I think up on the roof he shows up.
Yes, you're right. Yeah,
but it's real quick. And I mean, even then, I'm not even sure they're in the same shot. It might have been shot separately. So,
wow.
We were shooting Love Happy.
It just kind of ends. Harpo has the jewels and he wanders off and he was never seen again. It was just, yeah. They didn't know how to end the movie. Yeah, that was another problem.
Yep, that's a problem for many movies.
How do we end the movie? Guys? He just walks off. Don't worry about it.
And the whole movie has been running around with the jewels and getting away. And so that's how they ended it. It's like, okay.
He's broke, man. He's broke. Yeah. Just go for broke. Yeah.
Anyway.
You should have just given the jewels to Chico. Because Chico needs the jewels. Because she needs the money.
Now, did Harpo actually play the harp, or was that dubbed by somebody else?
No, he actually played it. He played the harp.
He actually played, because he always looks so serious.
But he had it
when he's playing the harp. He's totally different character when he plays it. Yeah,
but he had it strung differently.
Okay.
And what happened was his technique. Somebody said he was using the wrong technique, but it was good. It's like saying, okay, you're playing the guitar not like this, but you're playing like this, but you have the way it's supposed to be. You've got the technique down. Because he wasn't. I don't think he was a trained harpist. I think he just learned on his own.
Okay.
Wow.
And here's something funny. I found out that when he went to Russia in 1937,
Could he see it from his house?
Yeah. When he went to Russia, he actually was a spy for the United States. He actually brought in documents.
Our hero.
Yeah. And what he did was he hit him in the heart.
Man,
Oh, wow. Huh.
I hit you in the heart, man. It happened. Oh man.
I like Chico's piano style with that pointing the finger like he's shooting the gun.
You're right.
I like it.
Very unique. Yeah. Anyway.
Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding.
Just a very unusual way to play it.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up